Today we're going to be working on some bead locks. So what I've got is some 10-inch Team Alba black bead locks, some ITP pull shots from one of my other videos. When I bought the BanShee, the gentleman had the bead locks, but he had some red bead lock rings, which don't really go with the color scheme I'm going with. So for $100, we got some white Alba bead locks, installation kit, and we're gonna give it a shot. See how it turns out. You can see what the BanShee looks like now with the factory wheels on it. You know, I'm trying to go for a pretty factory look here, but I figured I'd have another set of wheels and tires and have two different sets to switch back and forth. All right, let's see what we can do. Alright, so first things first, we got some soapy water, which is actually left over from when I did the install of the graphics. I'm just spraying it down with some soapy water. If you've ever been to like a tire shop, you'll see them, they've got like a little cotton ball on a metal rod that they use, and they spray it down, you know, they dip that in and it just kind of lubricates it. So I've got it sitting down on this here towel, just, you know, just so they don't slide around too much on concrete. But not too bad. You kind of push them down, you kind of rock back and forth to get them to go onto the wheel. And of course, it's going to fight me. So not too bad. Then something that's important if you're, you know, worried about the aesthetics. Right now I have the valve stem facing right here. So I'm going to get the wheel nice and centered. Then I'm going to take the Alba spot where it says Alba, line that up with the valve stem. If you don't really care how it looks, then it doesn't really make a difference. Make sure you already have your valve stem installed. It comes with these little metal backers that do 2 of the bolts at one time. You only do them hand tight at first. If you do them other than hand tight, then you'll probably end up struggling getting them all in, honestly. I'm sure nobody wants to sit here and watch me do every one of these, so I'll probably just do 1 or 2 of them and then do some other demonstration. But something that's very important is to make sure that the wheel is pretty centered in here. You don't want it to be all crooked and jacked up and the bead to be offset, because what will end up happening is 2 different things. One, you're going to have a hard time clamping it down on the bead, and then 2, when you're actually driving it, the wheel's going to wobble, like as if the tire will wobble, I should say, as if the wheel was bent. But I mean, really, these aren't rocket science to do. So, you know, really shouldn't be something that's over the top. Alright, so I've got them all hand tight in there. And then you're going to want to go around this. And they're going to be, Alba Racing recommends on a, you know, like a 10 to 12 inch wheel, 3 to 4 foot-pounds. So everybody's probably got their own technique. I didn't really read up to see what Alba's pattern is. You know what they say. I just kind of go from one side to the other. Some people probably do a star. Some people do go all the way around a circle. I'd say all the way around a circle probably isn't not a good idea. Crisscrossing it back and forth in a star. You know, the star is probably the best, but it ain't really a big deal either way, I don't think. So you're just going to want to do all these and make sure you torque them. You're going to want to do 3 to 4 foot-pounds of torque. And then once you get all these torqued, we're going to air it up. Alright, next we're going to take the factory wheel off and then compare the difference in size. Once we air the other one up. 14 millimeter this one up. Alright, so something that's important when you're putting your air in your tires is the front bead is obviously clamped on, but the back bead has to be touching right here, and you want to make sure you got a good amount of soapy solution in there. If it's not, if it's dry and there's nothing soapy, then you're not going to get it to seat the bead, and sometimes you still struggle to seat the bead. This one won't. This one will seat right up. I'm sure the tire wheel manufacturer both have a recommendation of how much air you need to put in it to seat the bead. That I don't know. But the bead is now seated. It's actually seated without any kind of a pop or anything. This is not a low pressure tire gauge, so unfortunately I'm just going to put in what looks like to be pretty good. This gauge starts at 10, so this looks like it's 10. So we'll see how that is. But put your valve stem cap back on. This one's got the fancy little chrome valve stem cover, but honestly I think they're pretty good looking. I would have preferred to do a polished aluminum wheel with a white beadlock ring. I thought I'd do an anodized blue bolts, but I mean I don't want to get carried away. It's just an old BanShee that I'm just trying to make nice. But just like in my last video, I was comparing the tire size. So this one here is a 20, 10, 9. This one that came off. This is like a knockoff. I saw an ad for something. Let's see what this one is. This one is such a knockoff that doesn't actually have a name on it. It just says million parts. But compare that to the factory, or rather the American sized. This is the same size tire. You can see the difference in height. This one actually isn't quite as bad as the other one that I was looking at. The other one was pretty bad. Something else to take in consideration is if you're looking at your wheels, your factory ones that you're taking off, you want to see if they're the original factory wheels. They have a year stamped in them. So it says Yamaha right here. And then it also says 01. So these are 2001 wheels. So these were probably on a 2002. Mine is a 2000. They were on it when I got it. I can't remember if the 2000 was supposed to come with the gold wheels, but good possibility that it has the gold wheels on it. But and when mounting this back on here, check to make sure your spindle nut's tight and the cotter key is still in it. These are dual drilled, so you got to kind of figure out which one is the right one. So there, it's on there. So I'll put 3 new ones on here, just because I have 3. Always make sure you torque these down to spec. I don't know what the torque is off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you Google it, that everybody and his brother says exactly what the torque spec is supposed to be. Get one more. Let me set my gun to 40 foot-pounds of torque. There you go. So, I can look at the before and after. I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. Next we'll do the front. I've only got the backs ready to go. The fronts, I gotta take the tires off the wheel, obviously. But let's do a quick look at everything that we got going on here. And like all my videos, my garage is still a mess. At least I got an area to work right here. Yeah, look pretty good. The other day I mounted those really fancy China special Amazon shocks. They have like really minimal dampening. They're really not much better than the ones that were shot. I'll probably do a good video of that after I ride it a couple times. You know, get a little action out of them and see what they how they end up doing. But probably not that well. But it was just something to get it honestly looking half decent while I'm waiting to make sure everything's working good. I'm gonna go over everything first, and then eventually I'll put some decent shocks on it when we actually start riding it. But yeah, pretty good difference. I'll take some before and after photos. And here's my 450R. So not brand partial. I love the 450R too. And then there's all kinds of stuff in here. My son's CR85 dirt bike with a 105 big bore kit in it. And then and actually a Warrior that's old as dirt. I think it's actually might be slightly older than dirt. I want to say it's like an 87. I've had it for a real long time. And then under the covers are some of my Harleys and the Mustang and whatnot. But once I get the garage cleared out, we'll do some videos of the garage. But yeah, looking pretty good. Make sure you subscribe. Really haven't been telling anybody about the channel, so any of the subscribers I got are people who just found it all on their own. But I plan to do a good amount of BanShee content once I get this thing street legal. Do some videos of riding down the road and seeing what kind of attention we can get. We'll leave it at that. But some review videos. Do some, you know, doesn't necessarily have to be BanShee specific. If you know, I got something cool going on with you know, one of the other machines or one of the Jeeps or whatever, we'll put it on there. I do some cool Jeep builds too. Right now I'm building, this is a Dana 60 that I'm building to put in my son's Jeep. It's got 538 gears in it. You can see right here I'm cutting off a section of the cast. That way I could mount the brackets for the control arms. But that'll be on 40s on a Jeep Cherokee. But getting a bunch of rain here today in Loris, South Carolina. So, you know, good time to make a video. Make some comments in there too. Let me know anybody who's ever shortened the Pro Circuit exhaust. I've never done a Pro Circuit. I've seen plenty of videos done of the FMF fatties with the power core silencers. I'm assuming this is basically the same as that. The only thing I worry about is if you look at the cone, how it turns down. I'm assuming that the turn down portion is within the cone, not in the pipe. So once I cut that back, I'll probably have to, you know, take the entire aluminum portion off and then cut an extra ½ inch or so, 3/4 off of the pipe in the center, repack it, and we'll cut them Pro Circuits down. I don't know, maybe cut like 6 inches off or so. And that way they'll have a nicer sound and be a little shorter. That way they're not sticking out the back, you know, if you come up a little too high on a wheelie. But, all right. Take care, guys. Thank you for watching.